Hello, everyone. This is Luca Majno here with Frank Gregory Ford. Once again, welcome to Global News Update on TLBTV, courtesy of the Liberty Beacon Project, where we bring you complete backstage and up-to-date info as to the developments occurring in our world today. Whoa, it's hard to say that in one shot. How you doing, Greg?
I'm in fine form, as always. Much better after the last 2 weeks. I'll tell you that for free, though.
Yeah, well, I'm glad Greg is getting off of his cough, and it's good to see all of you, and thank you so much for watching. Greg, do you want to throw some news at us before we do Snapshot, or do you want me to go right into it?
Go ahead and do Snapshot. I'm going to make this pretty dramatic and pretty simple.
Okay, so I'm going to share screens with you, and we have a very disturbing chemtrail image to show everybody once everything gets set up here. I'm going to share screens with you. Here we go. Okay, for the first screenshot, terrifying image of chemtrails that I just saw this afternoon. And he's getting ready for Christmas, I guess. That's what the joke is. And it's something I had to add. I just had to put that in our show because that's a chemtrail you probably won't see anywhere, right?
Now, if I can have a comment on that, by the way, it's a little more serious. Today, you know, at my ocean home, I just happened to be out on my deck, and I was watching at least 15 to 20 very similar planes, same configuration, all headed north, okay, flying north, leaving distinctive chemtrails. They weren't different planes. They weren't passenger planes, okay? They were headed north, all right? Who knows what that could be, but now I am a firm believer in chemtrails, and I'm also a firm believer in what I'm going to say after you get through with Snapshot, Luca.
Oh, cool, okay. Because we're looking forward to everything, and this is what kind of opens up the floor to different discussions of all kinds. The government has been caught manufacturing terrorist attacks, running child porn websites, spraying radioactive chemicals on U.S. citizens, spying on every single one of our lives. And, you know, but if I say anything about it, people call me a conspiracy theorist, right? So that's one to think about. The order follower, very quickly, from one of my favorites. This is Mark Passio, who brings us this. Very interesting. A person who does what someone else commands them to do, and who has therefore attempted to abdicate their free will and personal responsibility for choosing their own actions based upon the correct determination of the morality or immorality of a particular behavior. So basically what he's saying is that everybody just gives up their moral and responsibility of deciding for themselves what is moral and what isn't, and they just follow what the other person does or the other person tells them to do. So I thought that was pretty interesting too, because you know we'll be touching on stuff like that as well. And there's more proof that I found that I wanted to share about what I was saying about MIT, the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology that was giving retarded boys oatmeal, force-fed if necessary. Apparently a hearing blasted them for secret radiation research. That was something I had to throw in. Just it's more proof that we're not asking you to believe us. We're saying don't believe us, do your own research. This is my treat for Veterans Day. Do yourself and your kids a favor. Don't send them to war for God. GOD means gold, oil, and drugs. Central banks and monarchy, nothing else. And Greg and I we have our AR-15 stuck in the sand on that one. Conspiracy theorist? No. Conspiracy realist.
Thank you.
Here's something interesting. July 24th, 2017, but it's worth mentioning. A governor abolishes her state's Second Amendment rights with a stroke of a pen. And it reeks of tyranny is right. You know, if one person can wipe away Second Amendment rights in her state, just like that, it's something to you know, that needs to be addressed. The Convenient Terrorist, very quickly, is a book that Greg had brought in my life in a significant way, and I have it on my night table as with the other ones. And John Kiriakou is somebody that I wanted to address tonight in Snapshot because he's seen on a video that we're going to try and bring the link in as we show this. I'm going to try and give you the link. If not, I'll give it to you in the article that comes with this video. He talks about some scary stuff about how, as a CIA agent, you're told to break the law. You're told to go get child prostitutes for the elites, and I have a writing on that, which I'd like to share with you. It says that because there is no rule, your job as a CIA officer is to break the laws of your country that you are serving in. That's your job. Your job is to commit espionage, which in most countries is a death penalty crime. Your job is to convince people to commit treason for you because they like you so much, or they like the money that you're giving them so much. So because it's the nature of your job to break the law, there aren't any rules written for you to carry out that job. So, you know, you could be told by headquarters, that's what you do, that's your job, go do your job. He says, that's the problem, he continues. He says, or that's the nature of the problem of ethics in intelligence operations. There are no ethics in the intelligence operations. I've come to the conclusion after all these years that there probably isn't even a need for the CIA. So that's what John Kiriakou shares with us this evening through this snapshot of what life looks like. And for all the people that are interested, go check out the finders, find out what Ted Gunderson, the ex-FBI agent, ex-FBI director, I'm sorry, Ted Gunderson, ask him what he has to say about the finders, if you can find him alive, because he isn't. And at the same time that I uncovered what John Kiriakou had to say, funny thing, bombshell, Hillary Clinton pedophile sex tape about to be released. Not sure if I believe the part that the New York City Police Department are going to be the ones releasing the tape to the public, because nobody has ever seen that before, I don't think. But Greg, you had something you wanted to share on that?
Sure, I'd love to, share what I know. Okay, there's a big difference there. First of all, John Kiriakou is somebody I know, and who's somebody like me who stood up and did the right thing. And with me, I was renditioned out of an active war zone, and I was tortured. All right, and they are still doing their best to smear me in every way they can.
Right.
And the case actually terrifies the U.S. Supreme Court so much that they won't even allow it in a courtroom. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what kind of shape we're in. Okay, as a country. And if you think oh, things aren't so bad, you'd better think again after what I have to say. John Kiriakou. Okay. Yes. He saw the torture that was being done, and he said, no, we can't be doing this, all right? It's going to alienate us with our sources. And he stood his ground, and unlike me, okay, he was actually prosecuted and thrown into prison for 2 years, okay? Fortunately, okay, Louis Farrakhan and the White Star of Islam, White Rose of Islam, said nobody touches this guy. He's to be protected. We have to protect our truth tellers at all cost. And he was not bothered in prison. All right. But the thing is now he is a spokesman for the Russia Today. All right. As I've been saying all along, forget those clowns at CNN, MSNBC, all those other, as that buffoon we have in the Oval Office says, what is it? Fake news? They are fake news. They're all fake news. I saw something the other day that designated Russia Today as a national security threat. Pardon me. Yeah. Okay. Right. I challenge anybody not to watch 5 minutes of Russia Today and say, OMG. This is very good. I've actually learned something in the 5 minutes I've been watching this show.
Right.
Not like the usual pablum, you know, for all the Joe Six-Packs who want to see pretty girls talking about news they know nothing about. Like you get on CNN, all right?
Right.
CNN is for the masses, all right? It's ridiculous.
Let me go through Snapshot because you're going to love this next part.
Oh.
This is pretty important stuff too. This is my next shot. What did you call her? Humma Wiener?
Humma Wiener.
Hubby's secret life insurance folder. I guess we're going to be hearing more about that too. John Podesta and Hillary Clinton at their best. Yeah, spirit cooking is something I'm glad to say that is not part of the show yet, but we might get there. You never know. These are the type of pictures that are the other side of, you know, who they want you to think they are. And there's something great about memes that come up right at the right time, because somebody like Hillary Clinton should be aware of this, and she should be warned of this, because people can become so determined to destroy someone else that they literally become blind in their rage and they end up destroying themselves. Something to think about. Bill Cooper, I had to throw this in about him because I found this and I hadn't seen it prior to finding it. Your government is selling your children drugs and you don't seem to care. Your government has given away the power of the people and you don't seem to care. Now we're truly a nation of sheep. And ladies and gentlemen, I assure you that sheep are always led to the slaughter, but it doesn't have to be this way. And this is what Greg and I have been crying since the beginning. This is what awakened souls keep trying to tell everybody. It doesn't have to be this way. All we have to do is wake up. What are you doing? Nobody can stop them. I'm nobody. Of course,
that is the Tiananmen Square statement right there.
Morality is doing what is right regardless of what you're told. Obedience is doing what you're told regardless of what is right. And they both have a brother called integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. That's my favorite one. I didn't actually end slavery, says good old Abe. I just transferred the ownership of the slaves from the plantation owners to the government. And then I made the entire United States a plantation of stacked slaves. Right? Sounds about like we summed it up right there. The difference between GMO and organic seen in a different way. This is really pleasant because this is exactly what GMO and organic look like. And this is love without borders. And people don't really get the picture until you go to a color photograph. And it's one of my most powerful ones. So love has no borders. People will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So if you cannot find peace within yourself, you won't be able to find it anywhere else. And Greg, I think this is what you and I do to try and find our peace, because it's a great way of doing it. And it's a blessing to us that we still have so many listeners, and I hope they're growing by the day. And you have some other important news you wanted to share, Greg, so I should shut up.
Yeah, thank you. All of those snapshots were great. The one about Hillary Clinton, okay, and the pedophiles,
yes,
which was done, by the way, and is still being done by Hillary Clinton. She is the team leader of this pedophile group, and she has been working with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein, that kind, benevolent Mossad agent for Israel. Okay, and what they don't show you there is the soon-to-be released film footage of Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin, forcing sex on a 13-year-old girl. All right, this is on Orgy Island. Okay, the people that made the film the Mossad, okay, the Mossad is not denying that they made it, and they are not denying that is a real piece of film footage showing this statutory rape is what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. And yes, Hillary Clinton is the one. They call them the inner circle. Okay. The inner circle. They spend their time running around the world, scouting. Okay, scouting and surveying young children. Any children like can be in an orphanage, someplace like that, like in Cambodia. They can be in an orphanage anywhere, really. And unfortunately, the Negroponte brothers, okay, they are well known. John and Nick Negroponte set up the high-tech computer scanning systems and video systems so little children can be preyed upon all over the world. All right, all over the world. Okay, I know I had to deal with Nick Negroponte in Central America because he earned the nickname Death Squad John. Okay,
right.
For engineering the death squads in El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, northern Panama. Okay, it goes on and on. Okay. Right. And he worked with a man who is going to come out in my book he's called the Butcher of Latin America. All right. Mr. Steele, John Steele. Okay. Colonel Steele. All right. And so here's these benevolent people all preying upon innocent children for political purposes. Right. All right. And Mr. Negroponte actually left Central America and brought his sidekick, Mr. Steele, Colonel Steele, the Butcher of Latin America, brought them to Abu Ghraib prison. Okay? And everyone knows my story from Abu Ghraib prison, all right? And that's the type of people that I was standing up against, all right? So there we have it. That's the kind of people that support and back up Hillary Clinton. And let's not forget Jeffrey Epstein. Let's not forget the Bush family. Okay, the Bush family. All right. Right. In World War II, you have seen the greatest disasters and the greatest exploitation of the human race, of the people of America. Including virtually every war the Bushes have been engineering, been involved with, and presently, as I saw today, they have engineered every aspect of 9/11 to include about 150 companies that were responsible for 9/11. All right?
Yes.
Everything from 9/11. All these heroes that you see, like L. Paul Bremer, who was in Iraq with me, okay, and unless you've been in a coma, you'll realize what kind of situation he left Iraq in, all right? And he also engineered the Cyprus Express, where billions of dollars of your money has gone down a hole to, all the Bush family buddies, okay, including the former prime minister, okay, of the UK. And in this situation, okay, I need to point out that, and I need to make a statement, actually. I'm not going to point out anything. Enough. That's my statement. Enough. Okay. We just saw our big tough president, Donald Trump, Donald the Tiger Trump, okay, all right, buckle under to a threat from some old piece of shit by the name of George H.W. Bush, when George H.W. Bush told our president now not to release the film footage, the footage and documentation on the Kennedy assassination. Say what? Say what? George H.W. Bush engineered the assassination process of our elected president. Okay? Do I make it any clearer? And 10 countries have signed off, Israel being one of them. All right? What does that tell you? What does that tell anybody listening to this? Yes, the UK signed off. All right. China signed off. The Castro brothers signed off. Raul and Fidel. Okay. So what we have here, folks, is a malicious, malignant, diseased leader, okay, a former leader of ours, all right, who turned right around, manipulated another election, got his village idiot son in, all right. And what we have here, okay, is he has been, George H.W. Bush has been denying this, and now we have film footage of him there at Dealey Plaza, okay, assassinating and observing the assassination of our president, President Kennedy.
Right.
I was 5 years old at the time. Okay, I'm not now, and I think it's about time that this came out. We're not fighting, we're not invading another country. We're not fighting another war. We are not fighting another war like, what is it? Saudi Arabia declared war on Lebanon this day before yesterday. Oh, all of a sudden, we're talking about going to Lebanon. All right. Oh, surprise. We're talking about Yemen. Surprise. We're talking about North Korea. No, here's the deal. No more wars till we find out exactly, to my satisfaction, and I have a lot of satisfying that's needed here, all right? That who killed Kennedy? Who were the countries that signed off on his assassination? There are 10 countries, people. 10 countries dictated to the United States to kill and assassinate their leader that they were supporting, all right? And now we have a situation where I saw irrefutable proof tonight. I've seen it all along. And remember, folks, in 2000, July of 2000, I was briefed on 9/11. I was briefed on 9/11 by Colonel Schaefer and Abel Danger, okay? And they said this is going to happen. Our country's never been the same since. How many wars have we seen? Okay, is terrorism stopping, or is it getting bigger and better? Okay, sorry people, no more wars. Here's what we're going to do. No more wars. We're not going anywhere. We're not, hey, they're talking about sending 3,000 people to Afghanistan. Okay, what? Are you going to tell me that Iraq has become a garden spot since, we ravaged the place for 12 years? Okay, sorry folks, ain't going to happen. We're not going to North Korea. We're not nuking anybody, all right? And if Donald Trump doesn't knock it off, tell the truth, cut the crap, running around, hiding, okay, in China, all right, okay, well, guess what? He's liable to be finding himself, actually not so tough, but being put into uniform and carrying a weapon so he could go to these countries and do the fighting, all right? Instead of the youth who doesn't know what they should be doing, okay, doesn't know what the track record of these people has been. And we are also going to find out what our defense contractors have been doing. As I said, 150 companies that I know of were responsible for bringing down the World Trade Center and the attacks on 9/11. Okay, the Pentagon. All right, guess what? Those weren't just happenstance terrorist attacks from designed by some guy sitting in a cave halfway around the world. No, people, our own people, okay, did this to us. And okay, do I need to say any more? There is a lot more that I can say. No more wars, all right? And if we need to kick that son of a bitch out in the Oval Office for selling us out, okay, over this Kennedy issue, fine, let's do it. Fine, let's elect somebody that has a goddamn spine and a set of balls, okay, like Jesse Ventura, and then we'll have Elizabeth Warren run with him, okay?
Okay.
Gee, do you think one person can make a difference? Okay, well, how about two? If one doesn't work, how about two? All right? And then, boy, do I have a way of locating the top people to run his staff, to run the chief of staff, to run the intelligence services. All right? Boy, we can figure all this out.
Perfect.
No more CIA-run bullshit and assassinations of American leaders. No more wars because they're convenient and they can wag the dog. Okay? Forget it. Ain't going to happen. This is what happened when I was looking today at the overwhelming evidence of 150 companies being involved in 9/11. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the first person we're going to throw into prison, okay, we're going to get poor old doddering George, okay, we're going to wheel him, wheelchair and all, into Leavenworth prison, okay? Hey, if they can throw Pinochet into prison at 94, guess what they can do with George, okay?
Right.
All right? And then his half-wit son, he's going to go in the cell next to him, and his other half-wit son, Marvin, who was in charge of security for the World Trade Center, guess where he's going to? All right? And Barr, okay, since we're an enlightened society nowadays, and all women are treated equally, okay, we're going to put Barr in the cell after them, okay? So she can talk about how wonderful her federally funded state of corrections prison cell is, okay? Right. But Greg, believe me, the list doesn't end there, all right?
I have to throw this in because we were talking about the CIA, we were talking about John Kiriakou, we were talking about pedophilia. The name Kathy O'Brien comes up when you talk about Hillary Clinton and pedophilia because people should read about the MK Ultra that she had to go through, and she has a quote that I'm showing now, and it says that she was forced to watch elder George Bush rape her 13-year-old daughter, and she herself was forced to have oral sex with Illuminati witch Hillary Clinton, if I'm not mistaken. That's the quote. And I urge people to put the video on pause here and read that quote for yourself. Greg, we're at the end of another show. I really appreciate your time.
I have a trailer on that, Luca. Okay, as a closing note.
Yes.
Okay, if you think George H.W. Bush is such a fine man, look up something called the Franklin Scandal.
Yeah.
Look it up right now. The Franklin Scandal. I'm sorry. You know, that old perverted son of a bitch. Okay, he likes little black boys. Okay, I wonder how many of those little black boys are alive today to talk about it. All right.
Well, this is what I was trying to edge people into when I talked about the finders, because that's what they did. You know, they had vans with darkened windows that were, you know, parked in certain strategic places. The door would open. They would use decoys of girls that were about the same age, bring them in to, you know, hoard them toward the van. They take them in the van and take off. That was that was normalcy back then.
By the way, I would love to have a little Q&A session with Hillary Clinton sometime, all recorded, of course, all right? And I would love to find out, okay, about the circles, okay? That's the group that she started, and she has worked with Jeffrey Epstein and the Negropontes to find out little children, wherever they are, and how to connect them to, you know, understand this. Why would she do this? Well, it's real simple. If you don't have dirt on you, if you're not controllable in politics, you are unelectable. Okay? You think Teddy Roosevelt would be elected today? No. All right? That's why you have to have a takeover, and you have to get somebody that's so far outside the box to be a leader. Okay? And that's not afraid. Most people are terrified. You can get them to pee all over themselves, quite simply, with a mere threat. All right? But, hey, Jesse Ventura, all right? Jesse Ventura and Elizabeth Warren, all right? I think it's a great, and their chief of staff is going to be Robert Kennedy, Jr.
Uh-oh, there you go.
Okay?
Okay,
all right.
Well, Greg, we're going to keep going on the next show, but we want to keep this short so that they can watch it with ease. Thanks again for everything. For your wisdom and your generosity with your words and your insight.
They don't have to watch me. Hey, all they have to do is listen, all right? They just have to listen,
there you go.
Okay? That's what I'm suggesting. is recruit Jesse Ventura and Elizabeth Warren, and let's get our country back.
I can't stop the guy. He'll keep going.
Country back. All right, that's what we have, and no more ridiculous, self-serving, wars. All right, forget it. Ain't gonna happen. Just say no, as they say.
There you go.
Yeah, just ask that great philosopher Nancy Reagan. Okay,
right.
When she was married to one of the greatest drug dealers America's ever known.
He's not going to stop talking. I got somebody's. Can you pull the plug, please? Can somebody pull the plug? Okay. Good night.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Good night, listeners.